If there's one thing that I hate, it is people that use outdated information. Bless you. Yeah, I mean, bless you again, kid. If your subject matter or whatever you're teaching is something that is government controlled or has regulations and stuff, you know, like if you're an electrician, laws change, regulations change. If you're a mechanic, laws change, regulations change. You can't have your lights, you know, this high off the ground. You can't have, you know, this type of light mounted to your vehicle. You can't have this, can't have that. Regulations change. Now, I'm getting into the GMRS radios. I've got my license. I have an actual FCC license to broadcast on GMRS. I can do FRS. I've got Baofeng UV-5R radio. Now here's the thing. This guy, he has a ton of videos. Yes, a lot of the information is good. It's nice. It's correct information, but tons of his videos are completely false. And I'll tell you why. He's under the impression that the UV-5R radio from Baofeng is illegal to broadcast on GMRS frequencies. It's not. It hasn't been for several years. See, in 2010, Baofeng brought these radios from China to the US, and it had all these frequencies that it could work on, and it tried to get FCC licensing to be safe for the US. Well, FCC looked into it. They did a study on it. The radios didn't meet certain specs. They didn't have certain settings that were required to be Part 95 and Part 95E rated or certified. Well, that's the problem. Back then, so they pulled them off the shelf. They did all this work with them, and then 2012 came and a new model was put out. Anything with the US 2012 model number or serial number, those are legal in the US now. The radios, if you pull off your battery pack and it has the FCC number and you look up that FCC number, it brings you to a page that says that they are receivers only, held to head or hand to head or held to head, held to face, that's the term they use, held to face receivers or transmitters. Got that on it. But in the subtext of that report from the FCC, it states specifically that you can use this radio or this radio with that FCC number if you have a license. Now this guy is under the impression that, oh no, this model, you can't do that. It's illegal. If you do it, the FCC will come after you and they'll find you and they'll put you in prison. No, they won't. The FCC stopped looking for people and actively searching for people years ago. I mean, years ago. They no longer do that because they don't have a budget for it. In order for them to do that for in order for them to do that, they'd have to have multiple vans driving around in every city in the world, or at least every city in the US. And they'd have to have vans driving around, and they need a minimum of 2 to narrow down a specific person who's broadcasting. and basically it would require them to be one on each side of the person in order to pinpoint their location. They don't have the funding to do that. But like I said, they don't do that. They stopped doing that. They are now strictly a report-oriented or complaint-oriented facility. Somebody calls in, files a complaint saying somebody did this on this frequency in this area, then they'll send somebody out to investigate. They won't just go around looking for people. They don't do that. So they also say that complaints, they'll only take complaints if the person is interfering with another frequency, if they're broadcasting and overpowering another broadcast, or if they are being vulgar, using vulgarities on the radio for the frequencies. You know, and if you're just out there, you know, communicating to and from, you know, you're talking to a family member, or you're talking to a group of people, you know, out in the mountains somewhere with your vehicle, you're not going to be doing any of that. Like, and you know, this guy has a lot of good knowledge, but as he says in a comment to me, he isn't going to read everything that I put on the comment because it's a lot to take in. It's like, yes, it's a lot to take in, but I am breaking down the FCC's regulations for you, so you can, like, I'm putting in actual, you know, numbers in for you. I did all the research for you, and I'm breaking it down so that you can just read a snippet of the information so you know what the new regulations are. And these new regulations have been in place since, you know, 2012, 2013, some of them 2014. The most recent stuff is 2018, 17, 18, and 19. And then in 2020, they had another added change. But like, he's going off the old information from like 2011, 2010, back when the FCC required that a GMRS radio had a mounted antenna that can't be removed. That rule hasn't been in place for a damn decade, and he's still going off of that old ruling, and it just drives me nuts. If you don't have the willing, you know, if you're not willing to actually look up something that you're trying to teach other people, then what's the point of you being a teacher? If you're just spewing old information, then you're not doing anything helpful. Like, I took the time to go to the FCC. I took time to call the FCC. I went on their website. I went through all these reports. I pulled up the FCC tag on my own radio, and it says, FCC says, that model, as long as you are within the right frequency and you're not being obnoxious or vulgar, and you have the license, you can broadcast, you can talk on the radio. You don't have to just listen. As long as you have a license with this specific radio, you can broadcast. And he refuses to believe it. He's going based off of some old report and old Reddit stuff. I mean, I'm looking through on these Reddit forums and all these radio forums, and it's like, it's all the stuff is like 7, 10 years old. And then you go to something that's like a year ago, and they're referencing that old outdated stuff without actually looking at the FCC regulations or the new information that's been put out. The FCC does allow it as long as you are licensed and as long as your radio is a 2012 or newer. Like, it drives me nuts. You know, it's like, I go off-roading. I own property out in the middle of nowhere, so I take my truck, my Jeep, I take my trailer, I'll take the quad. I go out there and do all this stuff when I have the chance. And, you know, having that radio, having that license helps. But if you're, you know, some basement dwelling office monkey that's just sitting there trying to tell people, oh no, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like, this guy's good in the way that he knows how the machines work and he can teach people how to use the machines. But for legal knowledge, he has nothing to give. He's got nothing to give when it comes to the laws and the FCC regulations. And it's sad. I mean, I want to teach him something, but he's refusing to learn it. He's refusing to put in any effort or look up any of the stuff himself. He just goes, well, just link it to me. Well, I'm giving you the information and you're telling me that it's too much information for you to read, so you just skimmed it. I gave you the information, I gave you the numbers, I gave you the legal information on it. If you're not willing to read my paragraph, then what makes me think that you'll look through a 53-page report? And it's 53 pages. I pulled it up, it's 53 pages in a PDF file from the FCC. I've got it emailed to me. If he's not willing to read a paragraph, then what makes me think that he's going to read 53 pages from the FCC saying that this specific radio model is allowed to broadcast on that frequency? It's sad. It's really sad. I don't get it. And this butthead here is getting antsy because she knows that her new puppy is coming in a week.